understand my Raider rumors scale. 0 Chucky heads, tuck rule, tuck that. This rumor, not going to happen. 1 Chucky head is a small shred of truth, 25% chance of happening. 2 Chucky heads, people are talking, 50-50. 3 Chucky heads is pretty likely this rumor, 75% chance going to happen. And then 4 Chucky heads, believe it, baby, 100% this rumor is going to happen. First rumor coming up here on the board. Derek Carr is the quarterback of the future for the Oakland Raiders. I'm going to give this one 3 Chucky heads, pretty likely. Derek Carr, I'll say this. I've already said that he might be potentially cut in 2019. When you look at the numbers, there's certain people who support Derek Carr, and there's other people who say, get rid of Derek Carr. But the Oakland Raiders this past week came out and said that Derek Carr is going to be the quarterback of our future. So why is it only 3 Chucky heads? It's 3 Chucky heads because if he doesn't play well in the NFL, there's no job that's guaranteed. Maybe unless you're Tom Brady, maybe unless you're Aaron Rodgers. Sorry, newsflash, Derek Carr, not those guys. When you look at his last 22 games, he's had some good moments and he's had some bad moments. Sure, the 66% completion percentage, not too bad. 32 touchdowns, 21 interceptions. He really needs to limit the turnovers, especially the turnovers that are coming in crucial parts of the game. And we need to be able to actually put some points on the board in the fourth quarter. So, is Derek Carr going to be the future quarterback for the Raiders? John Gruden's going to be here for a long time. We know that. He's got 9 years here, unless something drastic happens. But I want to know from you, is Derek Carr the Raiders quarterback of the future? For those of you on Facebook, give me a heart for yes, angry face for no. If you're on YouTube, comment yes or no. The next rumor coming up, maybe my favorite one of this segment, is Derek Carr on Craigslist. And if you haven't heard this story, you're welcome. I'm giving this one 4 Chucky heads, believe it, baby, because Derek Carr is literally on Craigslist. So I don't know who did it. I don't know if it was any of y'all who watch the show. Maybe it was Rick. I know you're always sending me crazy shit on my DMs. But if somebody did this on Craigslist, DM me on Twitter, at MitchellRens365. I'm putting you on the show. So they put Derek Carr on Craigslist, and they priced it at $86 million. I am really bad at numbers right now, but you can see it on screen, over $86 million. And if you want to buy him, you can buy Craigslist. He's in fair condition. They put him as fair condition, which I respect about Craigslist, man. You can find anything on Craigslist. That's freaking hilarious. Something else that I think is this time of the year, candy kind of gives me that high rush. It's Halloween season, so I want to have a little bit of fun with y'all. What is the best Halloween candy? I want you guys to comment below the best Halloween candy. For me, here's my list. I love Snickers. Love me some Snickers. I love Reese's. I love M&M's, even though Landon was kind of giving me some, I'll say, shit for picking up the M&M's. They're great candy in my opinion. Sour Patch Kids, sour, sweet, kind of like me. And then the last one down there, Twix. Left Twix, right Twix. I don't really think you can go wrong. So, what's your favorite Halloween candy? Comment below. Let me know. Maybe if you guys, go out and get some great Halloween candy tonight. Hopefully, if you're like 35 trick-or-treating, that's kind of weird. Maybe you don't want to send that to me, but you guys can always comment. What's your favorite Halloween candy? Next rumor coming up here on the board. The 49ers are going to be starting a third-string quarterback against the Raiders this week. I'm going to give this one 3 Chucky heads, and I think it's pretty likely. We know that they lost Jimmy Garoppolo to a torn ACL, and since the 49ers have lost Garoppolo, their season has, gone in the shitter. CJ Beathard missed practice on Tuesday, who is currently filling in for Jimmy Garoppolo, and Beathard really hasn't been playing all that well either. So the 49ers are rumored to be going Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins is somebody who's, we'll say, a below-average quarterback. I think even Colin Kaepernick could probably be better than Nick Mullins. But when you're watching the 49ers and the Raiders, this could be a game, as a lot of people are calling it, the Bosa Bowl. And maybe they're going to lose on purpose. So, with that being said, do you want the Raiders to win this game? Be honest with me. I don't care. Do you want the Raiders to win this game? Type W for win or type L for lose. Do you want the Raiders to win this game? I want to give a shout out to Mizzen+Main for making me look, I think dapper as hell. And if you want to look as decent as me, you're going to go to comfortable.af because that's literally the website. These shirts that Mizzen+Main provides us with are the most comfortable dress shirts you'll ever wear. And if you're not a dress shirt person, guess what? They have other options there too. There's only one way to find out though. You're going to go to www.comfortable.af and tell Mitch sent you. Next rumor coming up here on the board. We're already looking to 2019 because it's the NFL draft. And are the Raiders going to be drafting Nick Bosa? I'm giving this one 2 Chucky heads. People are talking. Who's talking? Me. I think Joey Bosa, excuse me, I'll probably get ripped for that. Nick Bosa. I think Nick Bosa is going to be a top 2 pick. I think Nick Bosa, when you watch his talent, He's a top 2 pick. He's the top defender right now in a very loaded draft class. You could argue he's the most talented player in the entire draft. He's not playing right now at Ohio State because he was injured and he decided, well, I'm not going to risk my NFL future to stick around at Ohio State. But if you're talking about just numbers and career stats, 29 games played, 77 tackles, 18 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. He is a playmaker, and the thing that I love about him, and I don't want to compare him to his brother, but these players like Bosa's, they just have an unlimited amount of just motor and just determined to always get the quarterback. So, shout out to Nick Bosa. I love Bosa, and I hope that the Raiders can actually end up getting Bosa. But I think the only way that's going to happen is if maybe they potentially lose to the 49ers. So, yeah, guess what? I want the 49ers to win that game. Sorry. Shout out to BetDSI if you want to bet on the 49ers and Raiders game. There's only one place to do it. There's only one sports book that we trust. It's BetDSI. You're going to go to chatsports.com/bet. You're going to use promo code LIVE120 for 120% deposit bonus. For those of you who aren't good at math, like me, sorry, I didn't do well on my SATs. If you put down $100, you get $120 for free. Pretty lit, right? Yeah, shout out to BetDSI. Go to chatsports.com/bet. Next one coming up here, are the Raiders going to draft Ed Oliver? I'm also going to give this one 2 Chucky heads, and it's people are talking. And the reason why this one's 2 Chucky heads for me is because if Nick Bosa is on the board, we're not going to take out Ed Oliver. I like Ed Oliver, and I always think it's interesting when teams are like, oh, well, we don't need Ed Oliver. You know, he's a defensive tackle. We have defensive tackles. Sure. Raider Nation, I hear you loud and clear. However, when you're 1-6 or you're a bottom 3 team in the NFL, you have a lot of needs. And when a player like Ed Oliver comes up, you do not pass on Ed Oliver. I like Ed Oliver a lot, and when you look at his career stats, there's a reason why this guy is one of, I think, a top 5 player in the NFL draft. 31 games played. Do you remember Bosa's numbers? This guy is by far blowing him out. 189 tackles, 52 sacks, and 5 forced fumbles in just 2 fewer games. So when you're looking at Ed Oliver, I think if he's on the board, man, I'm telling you what, he's definitely a Gruden grinder. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But I want to know from you, who would you rather the Raiders draft? Give me a B for Bosa or an O for Oliver. I'm throwing up my B. I think Bosa is just an unbelievable talent, and I really think he'd be a great fit. Could probably fill in that little bit of a hole that Khalil Mack's left behind, potentially if Bruce Irvin decides to leave. So, who would you rather the Raiders draft, Bosa or Oliver? Please comment below. The last rumor coming up here is, are the Raiders trade deadline winners? I think the Raiders are 100% trade deadline winners, and I'm giving this one 4 Chucky heads. Believe it, baby. When you look at the Raiders and you look at the trade deadline, they now have 3 first-round picks in 2019. They didn't go full fire sale, which sure, like they could have. But the reason why I think that they're the big-time winners is because they have great value for Amari Cooper. When you look at what other teams got for Cooper, or what other teams got in trades to this, for the trade deadline for wide receivers, the Raiders had a slam dunk. The Raiders got a first-round pick for Amari Cooper. Now, I love Amari. I think he's a talented player. Some of you are going to like him. Some of you are dislike him. I get it. But we got a first-round pick for Amari Cooper. What did the Texans get for Demaryius? Or what did the Broncos get for Demaryius? Look at that. I mean, Demaryius goes, they swap 7th-round picks, and then a 4th-round pick. Amari Cooper first, Demaryius 4th. Big difference, right? And then, but also, the Eagles. The Eagles get Golden Tate, who I like as a receiver. He's led the NFL in yards after the catch the last few years. But the Lions got a 3rd-round pick. Amari, first-rounder. Demaryius, Golden Tate, not first-rounders. I think the Raiders are clear winners. But I want to know from you, are the Raiders trade deadline winners? Type Y for yes or N for no. Did you want the Raiders to maybe make a bigger splash? Did you want the Raiders to start buying players? Or did you just want them to sell the entire farm? I want to know from you, are the Raiders trade deadline winners? Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and I'm your host, Mitchell Renz. Please follow me on Twitter, @MitchellRenz365.